And we are on. Welcome in, Postal Gang. What would the mail be if the mail wasn't late? I am your host and ghetto sideline reporter for the day, Postman 1914. Joining me as usual, the most staunch and representative Cubs fan that I know in the building today for the first place Cubs, the top all of the NL Central. Mr. Bluefax, how you doing today?
Doing good, man. You know, experiencing technical difficulties. It's our new norm, so working through it. But doing good, all set. Appreciate the invite.
We got a what you call it? I call it a transplant Packer fan, and I don't know how you're a Packer fan at all, being from New York and all, but we got Ted in the building. T Miles, welcome in. How you feeling today, bro? We always got the number one guy. Check out your hardware and hear you official on the Postal Gang with your good wrench. I appreciate you pulling up all the time, man. Ted, we are on episode 27, but today the Bears just wrapped up 4 training camp sessions. And I think that told us 2 things, Mr. Bluefax. First, Ben Johnson is not the one to play with. Just let's just cut to the chase. Ain't the guy that most people want to have games about. Conversely, you think about it in a way that the Bears still have questions to be answered. Not concerning questions, but questions. You know, obviously, the big, or I should say the most talked about concern would be left tackle. We do have some things that we don't talk about as much, such as cornerback depth, when we talk so much about the state of the secondary. And as usual, how could anybody get past an episode without talking about the running back position? And last but not least, how has Caleb integrated himself into what is going on in his first training camp with Ben Williams? I would say Mr. Bluefax had a couple bumpy moments, but also, he flashed some of the reasons why this staff chose to come to Chicago and have set some lofty goals for him. So we're going to try to tap into some highlights, maybe some red flags, if we want to call them that. And also, just as an aside, since our GM just got a new extension a couple weeks back, we want to take time to go through a tally of sorts. We're going to take a football acquisition tally list. So that means we are going to go through every single acquisition that Ryan Poles has made since he's been here, and we're going to try to assert, in our own opinion, whether or not those guys have been thumbs up or thumbs down types. That's right.
Thumbs up or thumbs down.
And so, other than that, we're going to get ready to go ahead and deliver this mail. We're a little late, so don't tell nobody we might speed. So buckle up. If you're watching this, go ahead and like the content. Subscribe to the page if you have not, and go ahead and share it with your friends. Tell somebody to pull up, even if they're not a Bet fan or an I Don't Care fan. So as we do that, we're going to get your takes on a couple things going on this week at Hallis Hall. Mr. Blue Facts.
Yes, sir.
Some of the most notable things that has gone on recently in terms of the tone being set or standards raised. It's alleged that Ben Johnson, well, it's not alleged, it's true, that benched the first team offense earlier in the week, actually the first practice, for not getting plays done, not lining up correctly, improper procedures, so on and so forth. And so many people had a lot of disparaging things to say about it. The coach did have his own rebuttal, which I don't know if you heard, was that we don't have but 90 minutes to practice. Entirety. So I don't have much time to jack around with you, in the words of Jerry Jones. We got to move on to the next person. And so more so of an aberration, but a tone setter to talk about things to come. With that being said, tell me some things that you may have heard about training camp that give you, I don't want to say concern, but give you a reason to tune in a negative way, and some things that give you a bit of a positive spin before we move into some specifics.
Gotcha. Okay. So I will say that I think I wouldn't be truthful, didn't want to hear everything is going amazing, and Caleb is throwing, completing 7-on-7s, complete drives, last 2 minutes, everything was going like perfect. I'd be lying to you if I say I wanted to hear that. But am I shocked by not hearing it? No. Right? Like, you have somebody who's going to a new offense, who's being put in situations to be uncomfortable, right? That's what Ben Johnson wanted to do. And so the fact that it is not going dreamy, so to speak, doesn't bother me at all. The least a bit, right? Like, I would expect that, like, when you're going through a situation where you're trying to change the culture, when the standard is the standard, get off the field. That's the new standard. We're not in a situation where everything you do is okay, all just work on Sunday. If you can't do that shit in practice, get off the field. Come prepared. And I believe that's how you change the culture, and I believe that's how you set the standard. And so I'm not at all like worried or concerned by the fact that happened. I think everybody has to elevate the game, has to understand the expectations that he is putting on them. And so to me, although I would love to hear that everything went okay, I'm okay this early not hearing that. Now, this needs to be progressive. This needs to start to, not make the same mistakes twice, and we need to be able to build upon what that standard is. But all in all, this early on, I'd be shocked if everything went well. You're talking about somebody who's new to them, has a new coach, and we're trying to change things. So this is all to be expected, in my opinion.
I can totally understand that one and agree with you. And I think oftentimes, we have headlines that need to be gravitated to. And let's also understand that in the interim stages of training camp, there are a lot of closed sessions. So anytime there is something that is heard about, obviously gets exacerbated or, kind of over the top in terms of the exaggeration. Prime example, Justin Fields left the field early this week on a cart to go back to the locker room. The headline read, Justin
that.
Fields
Okay.
carted off. A non-contact injury, and they went to the speculation for doom and gloom so that they can speculate that he tore something. He has a minor fracture of one of his toes, and he was back on the practice field the next day. And Ted, I did get to. I see your question there. You say mentioning running backs make you check out who is our 1-2 combo. I had a real long conversation yesterday about this very topic. We will get into it, I believe, within the context of what we got going on today, Ted, because I got my own thoughts about that. But before I jump ahead and what we got going on, I'm definitely going to address that for you because I see your question, and I'm going to not regurgitate what I said yesterday, but I'm going to give you more of a synopsis because that was a long-winded thing to talk about. Anyhow, let's go ahead, and I'm just going to give you a couple quick things that gravitated to me before we move in. So, Caleb discussed some of his, what do you call it, barometers of success or goals. And so those were things such as metric of 4,000 yards, obviously, being the first in our history, so that would be nice.
Which shouldn't be hard, right?
It shouldn't be.
I think that's
you
like
need
275 yards a game.
240,
if you play all
249 to be exact. I think with a 17-game season.
Okay.
But
which ain't as crazy as it used to be. Like that is not as crazy
standard.
as it used
to be.
That's
average. Yeah, that's what should happen for him to do anything to make you seem like a competent quarterback. But also,
unless you're Jalen Hurts, that resembles a positive, an effective passing game.
Yeah, and he never throws for 4,000, but he's efficient. And so, while I don't think it's feasible, Caleb and Ben set the progressive goal or benchmark for 70% in completions. Okay, if you hit both of those, fine. If you hit neither one of those, but you throw for 27 or so touchdowns, you run for another 500 like you did last year, and everything goes the way the offense needs to. I don't need those benchmarks, but he had them for himself. Also, when we'll talk about some injury concerns. We're going to talk about some people that return to the fold, and obviously we'll get into the exact thing that we call Ben Johnson's standard. You talked about his standard, and I think you answered the question. You do feel as though the things that he is doing and has done thus far are things that are requisite for us to have success on all levels, right?
Yeah, I think that an effective leader has to be a disruptor. You got to disrupt. If you brought in to keep the status quo, then you're not leading. So the fact that he is causing disruption means that he's trying to be effective as a leader. And I think this is just a byproduct of that.
And I guess it's the only way to say it. We talked about muscle memory and everything else. He wants every play not to be done until you get it right, but until you do not get it wrong. Very simple premise in terms of practicing and executing things until it's muscle memory and it's second nature to you. It's nothing that you have to think about, and you have all the other time to go out there and dissect pre-snap along with your revamped line that helps you out tremendously, or should. Now that you have like a built-in headset and a computer on the field, I'm going to need you to be your best tech support yourself out there and diagnose what's going on, because it's like they're giving you Chat GPT on how to get things done. So for Caleb, I can understand the early hiccups. Those matter. Also, some of those things are a bit more, like I said, misinterpreted. For example, he threw 2 picks. One in 7-on-7, both in 7-on-7. And it was already speculated, 7-on-7 is shorts. Nobody's doing anything. How did he go ahead and get into the situation of interceptions when it was all but said by your coach and the OC that they put extra pressure on him in certain climates to be able to see how he would respond to it, and thus setting up the situation for him to throw said pick. So sometimes I think we get past ourselves and not understanding that certain situations are set up in the training camp aspect to see what you shouldn't try, like what we can throw away?
I think that goes a long way towards like him, being sacked as many times as he has. Like being able to understand what's going on and take risks. So putting them in situations where short field, 7-on-7 situations set up to make him make the tough throw. I think that gets past like I need to see it before I make the throw versus I need to anticipate it happening. And so when you have somebody who's been sacked as many times as he has been, who has thrown so many, I can't remember how many passes he threw without throwing an interception. But to me, that all kind of comes down to someone who needs to see all the things before he makes the pass. And being too conservative when it comes to pushing the ball and taking risks. And so if you can get if I threw an interception, let's go on to the next play. We don't want him throwing 25 interceptions. But if we increase the number of interceptions he throws because he's being more efficient and taking more, I think that's a mindset thing. So I think part of this is Ben Johnson getting over the idea that I need to see everything. I should be anticipating. I should understand why the play is called. I should understand what my options are on different defensive coverages. And so that's the growing pains of making you uncomfortable. I don't want a bunch of interceptions, but I'm okay if you are finding pockets and taking chances on those throws in practice, because I think that leads to a more efficient quarterback in a real game. That's just my thought on why he's going through those scenarios.
And also,
I heard they're not even blocking Montez Sweat in practice just so he can feel the heat and still get the ball out.
Okay, and so that's what I was going to say. They are doing some of those things because he's building the offense to get to a quick game timing. The progressions going on in terms of progression clarity so that you can diagnose what's going on, pre-snap penalties, and have defined answers, like you said, anticipate, because I already see some of these things out here in terms of what is going on in front of me. So now I know my options, which one is going to be most lucrative to be successful. And I think those are the things that those pressure situations set up for him. And he spoke to the fact of not being Ben has spoke about, I should say, not being the team that is predictable in that it doesn't have a game plan specific to the team. It has a game plan specific to the opponent. More so of a Belichickian type thing. I know what weapons I have at my disposal, but I will use those in a way that totally is needed or necessary for this battle, as opposed to trying to rinse and repeat what's going on, because what works for you in terms of styles make fights may not work against this opponent. And so how can I best put every person in the best possible position? And they'll get to, once again, what I told Ted about in terms of answers being layered. That'll give you understanding as to why I think that he gives you some of those unsuccessful situations. At the same time, some of those things are to get, like you said, get Caleb and the offense out of their mistake-prone ways, per se. Knocking the kinks off, the rust. They haven't worked with each other, and so some of that stuff is like inadvertent, but a lot of more is by design than people can think about. And so, when people say the offense can't function in July, it's not going to suddenly click in October. Well, all of these baby steps are like what I think the concrete and the brick and mortar being laid to have the building be steady in its foundation before we just try to build up this 3-month building skyscraper with these 2025 parts.
So, and here's why it's a nothing for me. If Ben Johnson held his first practice, and the feedback from Ben Johnson was everything went amazing, things were great, I could not have expected a better first practice. If you would have heard him say that, knowing where we were, what kind of confidence would you have in him as a quarterback? I mean, as a head coach? Like, there's no way that he was supposed to come out, that the team that had not played together with a new scheme, a new offensive coordinator, a new head coach, was supposed to come out and knock your socks off. If they would have done that and I would have been back out of training camp, I would have training camp ain't harder. So it's a lose-lose, right? Like I wouldn't have had any confidence in Ben Johnson, but I would have questioned my process in terms of his ability to run a practice and be a head coach. If he would have told me Caleb came out there and nailed it, like the fact that he did struggle means that I have different expectations and I'm going to make you uncomfortable. You know, you've heard the saying, you practice harder than you play in the games.
Yep.
When you see me play in the games, you've seen me, what you're seeing is me do something I've done 1,000 times when you weren't watching. And so if he would have came out and been like, everything's amazing, I would have been like,
we got a problem.
I don't feel better about that. That doesn't work for me. Sweat is amazing. Cave's amazing. Rome's amazing. Everybody's doing all the right things. We don't even need a full practice. Remember, we're not even gonna have any contact. If that would have been the next last week, I don't know.
Valid, that'd be valid, and like you said, you would have concerns if everything just went swimming because it would give you the elementary basis to it. I don't think that he's assembled a staff that would even allow something like that to happen. But at the same time, let's not lie and act like all of these types of things that we see as progress will not be derailed if we do not talk about our next position battle, i.e. concern. And I think everybody knows what that is, the left tackle position. So, concern, I say, and I say a very minor concern, maybe a 4 on the concern meter for me, but still a concern. And I say that because the only concern for me is that there are 4 people that are getting reps. 3 people that are getting reps right now in this particular battle, when I really think it's a 2-person battle. At the same time, I do see the benefit in all 3 getting reps because one at some point will be used as a swing tackle or emergency tackle, no less. And so what can we expect from you as well so that we can make a decision on depth? I think that in itself gives me the reason why it's so low in terms of the concern, because the depth is, in my opinion, there for us to be to not be susceptible to, if somebody were to go down, that I would have any reservation about the next person stepping up and being able to do it as well, if not better, because I believe that of the 3-headed monster, Braxton Jones will start, but I do not believe that Braxton Jones is the best left tackle of the group. Before I get into any of my other opinions about it, what say you about that situation in the left tackle first week of camp?
Yeah, so I gotta kind of separate the hopefulness, like being hopeful in what it could be, and dealing with the actual productivity of the past, right? Like what I hope is the case is that the center of that line, the center on the line, the guards there are going to be the staple. They're going to be we're going from a situation maybe where the people who used to have that position were completely occupied with their job. And I'm hopeful that we're getting people at a center position, at the guard position, that can help the tackles so that they can kind of coach them up. Meaning I'm not 100% focused on every down, solely about my job, and I can brush and I can rub and I can kind of contribute to that. I believe that Jenkins is going to eventually be the starting.
Who?
I can't see. I hesitate even to say it. Braxton. I believe that he will be. Well, once again, I'm trying to separate hopefulness with actual results and what I've seen in the past. I think he's going to be help. He's going to help in the depth of that offensive line. I don't know what role he's going to play and if he's going to be a key factor. I'm hopeful that he is, but I don't know that I have anything other than me being a Chicago fan and whether or not that's actually going to be the case. But I feel happy about the situation of only being really worried about tackles. I'm not worried about the center and the guard. I think that's progress, to say the least.
And your statement in itself epitomizes the other feeling for me, in it that the center of your line is the most important, despite what people think. and it has been
Yeah.
totally fortified on
And
paper.
Caleb can step up in the pocket.
No, I mean, but no. When that's not, they don't always just like you just alluded to everything that a true interior does. They don't just step up and do their job. Their job is a multitude of things, including chipping, helping out on other people, seeing blocks, calling out fire blitzes, and things of that sort. We didn't have those are not extras. Those are that's what you expected to do as a high level or above average at your position. Allegedly, at least 2 or 3 of those are above average at their position. One of them has accolades of being a former All-Pro as recent as last year. If you guys do your job, and I'm gonna say it that way, the other 2 guys, I'm sorry to tell anybody else, it's people that evaluate tackles and guards every year, and PFF, whether people like it or not, rank both of your tackles very highly. They didn't do anything for your interior. So, if I think that you have an average tackle, which I believe Braxton is, why would not?
You think he's average?
I think he's slightly above average, and I say because he's 17th ranked out of 32. So technically, if I want to be on left tackles, it's 32 of them. You 17th, that would rank you slightly below average. I fault the interior of your line for that ranking, for you missing your 2 spots or so to be top. Based on his weight and what I've seen thus far, I would only be able to put him into the average or to where I think he can be above average with the people around him now. I think the upgrades allow him to be above average, and thus the only reason that I think that he will be the starter this year is because he is an adequate solution at left tackle. Everybody wants all 5 people to be great. That's not true for any line. I'm sorry to tell you, even Detroit, even Philly, all 5 are not great. 3 or 4 may be, and one of them being propped up by the rest of them. So that's not being disrespectful to them. That's saying that you fit in well and you do your job well, but they help you to do your job that well. Like Yurko says about Mike Singletary. He said everybody around him allowed Mike Singletary to be a Hall of Famer. Whether I agree with that or not is up for debate. But his contention is that you were so great because of the people around you, i.e., that can happen. So I can allow those people to be straight, but I know that eventually you want to prop him up to be the best free agent he can be for a compensatory draft pick, possibly a sign and trade, because I don't think that they will retain him long term, because I think he will exceed expectations of many people. And then at that point, because you are a left tackle and that's a premium position, you will expect to be paid as such, and people will pay you for your services. That can't be the Bears when they just drafted 2 people in consecutive rounds. Yeah, Trapillo will be your starter next year. If not the end of this year. If any bumps and bruises happens to your left tackle, yeah. I mean,
what's that?
They Bobby Pippin him if you get hurt for any amount of games. So in that instance right there, I think you start this year. I think you flourish this year. I think they move on from you because I think Karan will be a above average swing tackle. I don't say it lightly when I say about that, because you can't afford to risk his protection, let alone his blind side. And so I don't believe anything else will happen like as far as scanning the veteran market or nothing like that. I think we are solidified as far as the depth goes and everything else, but that could be.
So you think the roster is the roster? There's nothing.
I think the left tackle and offensive line.
Okay.
For the most part.
Okay.
Because Ryan Bates could still be a cut candidate, and they can pick up somebody else for depth. And there may be somebody else, because like I said, we can't think of the other right guards that back up Jonah Jackson. So besides Luke Newman, I can't think of anybody else that have. Theo Benedet is somebody they liked last year, and he's still there. But everybody else, relative no names, they might have to be addressed at some point, just to think about it. But I would say that their depth is a little less concerning than our next position, which is the cornerback depth. We obviously know about Jalen Johnson. We know about Tariq Stevenson, and some people question even his stability. We know about Kyler Gordon's and Keith Bayard's. But after that, I want anybody to name me. Let's name me 2 other people in the defensive backfield. Because as much as I like, we're gonna be disrespectful right now. Simone Biles' husband, instead of saying Jonathan Owens. And I like Terrell Smith. I even think that the rookie undrafted free agent Tashim Green, a big body, might be a replacement for somebody at some point, or a safety net. I don't know that if we go down, because I don't know if Elijah Hicks is still here, but last year when Brisker went down, we didn't have the same staying power of any sort in the box safety, and that kind of contributed to Kyler not being able to do what he does well, or as well, and everything else might have had a domino effect. So I do think we might need to get some depth positions there. But you know what? T. Miles just quailed everything I was talking about right there with depth. Zay Frazier. Zay been injured this week and hasn't participated, but 4'3" big body, and you might have really just told me what I need to be calm about that position and think.
Maybe it gave you something to think about.
Yeah, because I thought about the undrafted free agent. I forgot they drafted Zay, so they like Zay more than the undrafted.
Who's is he? I mean, he's not going to come out the gate as a starter. Is he going to be backing up? Is it going to be more of like the Josh Blackwell thing where
all of them going to be backups?
Depth there just to account for injuries and concussion protocols. Like
they all backups. Everybody we just named.
Okay.
Because
but I mean, is it more about concern about his ability about Kyler Gordon being able to stay on the field?
No, Kyler has less injury history than Jaquan. I'm worried about everybody because that particular position does allow them, in terms of the style in which they play, to be hurt. Keith Bayard is, I believe, 31 or 32 this year, and so to have adequate above average level replacements there, because while I do anticipate the line being better, it has to be better, and I would say almost exponentially, in order for those particular things not to matter as much.
Okay.
Colton Miller. Oh, you talking about the left tackles? Kind of thin. They are thin right now. I don't believe we need anything at left tackle. I got full confidence that the second round pick that we drafted this year, and Ozzie Trapillo can start this year, but I believe it behooves the Bears and Ozzie to have like a red shirt year of sorts, give them a couple spot plays, maybe a game or two towards the end of the year when we have already solidified our playoff spot. Ted, wink, motherfucking wink. And don't slip on my guys entering or creeping into those top 10s out there. And I mean, my right tackle got a better chance to be a top 10. But they talk about my left like he will have the opportunity. And, bruh, just let's talk about it. I got concerns about 2 teams in the NFC North more than mine, and one of them wear green and gold. You know, I won't tell you the other one yet because I'm gonna let everybody prove themselves. This Steel City ain't gonna give nobody shit, and when we have that particular,
I feel like we get the same chat every week.
And G Honda better stop with all his capital letters out here.
He's saying it with his chest.
Botrick tell him to pipe down every time. Botrick's gonna go here and boot him, time him out for all caps excessively. It is, man. Hey, I got no promises on nobody because I think everybody takes a regression except for my team, obviously, because how could we take a step back with 5 wins last year? But I mean, I think everybody take a step back in my division, G Honda. I'm not even lying about that. That means
everybody but us.
Yeah, and I'm not even saying that tongue in cheek. Like I just said, we won 5 games. I don't expect 5 games. So even if I won the minimal amount of games that people predict us to win, which is 7, I didn't go backward. So they took a step back, not us. But Terrell Smith, just to talk about people out there. Yes, right. We could go out there with 11-5. You damn right. Hey, Ted, that's the first time we're going to agree out here, Packer fan.
That's the first time we're going to agree.
I believe it. I believe that for all of our teams.
Yeah, you said some kind of crazy. You got a crazy win-loss record, if I remember correctly.
Ryan Post?
No, you. Your win-loss for this season coming up was kind of crazy.
Like I said,
you had like 13 wins, 14 wins.
Once again, I don't believe y'all. I told
13
you.
was like 13-4.
Nah.
You were 13-4.
Maybe 12-5. Maybe I jumped it on one. I tell you.
I got it written down right here. I got.
Yeah, I say maybe we 12-5.
13-4. It's circled with like stars next to it because it was.
And we got a whole episode in which we're gonna do that to go through the whole schedule. So we did that. Schedule release? I have the right to see things how we saw.
I mean, you fan any way you want to fan. You can fan any way you want to fan.
And you get to make adjustments before the regular season whistle. 13 is, it's insane work. But let me tell you what's not insane work. I saw a 3-win Bears team, 3-13 under this guy named John Fox. I saw him come out there with a coach that stole somebody else's menu order at Denny's and read it verbatim, and it worked to the tune of 12 wins, and he, without a double doink, is playing in the NFC Championship game. So while it's insane work, we got a hard schedule and everything else, Minnesota told me that anything is possible. I'm playing fuck around. But, last year we had a couple bad breaks. This year, some of those need to go in your favor. Matt Forte will love nothing but Bears gear, not even the Jets gear, sir. We don't want no Steelers beer. But the Bengals lose close games because they can score. Their defense is putrid, and it will continue to be putrid. I got no confidence in their defense until they prove that. Just like nobody has a reason to be confident in my offense. I can understand that. They defense.
And they're not even doing anything to address the problem.
No, they signed one person. You alienating your best player still, and you haven't added anything else but one person.
That's what I'm talking about. You had a bad defense, and then you coming back with like a bad defense.
Yeah,
you didn't go out and say like I'm hopeful this should work. Yeah, you got the same recipe.
What they did was went out there and got a new coordinator and think that everything gonna work. Trey still ain't signed yet. And still, Trey had 17.5 sacks last year. How'd that work out for them? I said they defense is putrid. I'm not talking about one particular person.
Yeah.
My defense, individually, my defense didn't play like shit last year. But collectively, they were a top 10 scoring defense. Good, sir. So, I don't care about individuals. I care about the sum of your parts, because that's how I work in football. Everybody tugging on the same side of the rope. And they outscored people, but you saw they lose games, I believe, like, New England early in the season, first week 1 type. They don't play any type of defense whatsoever. They play shadow defense. Speaking of shadows, we're going to push it on into one of the last areas of concern, if I would say, besides injury. And that's going to be the running back room.
You put this in a script, didn't you?
Say that again?
You put this in a script? You sent a script to me for this?
Yeah. I always send you the things we're going to go over.
Okay.
I anticipate heavily. Like how we anticipate Bears offense in years. I don't anticipate you reading it. But for my blueprint and my digital footprint, I go ahead and make sure that you get all the info you need to be successful. But nonetheless, just like on the mat, but hey, on the mat you find a way to choke somebody out every time. So that's what matters. If you came to work unprepared, then obviously we're gonna have to go ahead and try to adjust our practice habits and so on and so forth like a team. But somebody managed to bring their ass on out there and act like they didn't read the playbook. So who am I to Change what
I got
works. Say if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Oh, I see it. I see it right here. I got it.
And what we're gonna talk about what's not broke to me, but some would say it is, the running back room. For me, it's not that this room is bad. It just lacks what people would call an identity. Because I don't think of anybody being irrelevant or lacking in success. But I do think that some or all of the parts have a lot to prove. So when you think about it, we got a three-head monster. Ted, to answer your question, you said, what's going to be our 1-2 combination? Before I let Mr. Bluefax get into his thoughts about the running back room, I do not believe we operate from a 1-2 spot. I believe we operate from a three-headed position in the Kyle Monangai sweepstakes. And I say sweepstakes because I think we got lucky to pick up somebody based on reports like that so late, i.e. Isaiah Pacheco. And ironically, they went to the same school, drafted in the same round. Let's hope for some of the same productivity. Roshan, while I was going through some things today, Roshan was the third best quarterback in Texas in his high school class.
Who?
Roshan Johnson, our running back, was the third best quarterback in his class. You know who was directly ahead of him in terms of number 2? One J.D. Daniels. So, I do believe that you will see some of Ben Johnson's creativity.
Trickery?
That's exactly. Okay. I think some of that will be some trickeration, where if you see my man line up in the backfield by himself, he throwing that B because he know how to do it. And you say, Ted says, before I give you my answer, he say, I have no idea, or can I see what will happen until it happens. But Swift has never been a favorite for me. 20 plus attempts on how many times? Facts might be able to look up how many times he had 20 attempts last year, but this is what I'll tell you. Game script defines your carries oftentimes. I do think you need 20 plus carries as the de facto workhorse. And I do see him getting, unfortunately for what your metric is, 17 to 20 strong. And I say that because he will get a lot more opportunities in the pass catching than the other running backs, because I believe he's more so your space making, your space or playmaking type of running back. And so, like I said yesterday, he will have his opportunities where the enemy will hold him accountable and make him fight forward for the tough yards. But for the most part, I believe that your hammers, not one, but two, you're going to have a sledgehammer and you're going to have a mallet out there. And that's Kyle Monangai and Roshan Johnson. I believe that Roshan was improperly utilized, but his first year will indicate to you something that I think shows promise. In a three-headed system, he had 81 carries for 353 yards and I believe 5 touchdowns. Don't hold me to the last part. To be the third in a trio and have only 81 carries, so that surely over a 17-game season does not break down to more than, I would say, 7 to 8 carries a game, maybe, if that. And you got 350 plus yards. I think that, when we talk about PER and, stuff like that in basketball, per 36, I think that extrapolates into being a damn good number 2. Because let's say he gets 150 carries. Now, a year in which he was utilized behind a porous offensive line for the tune of 354, let's say that can double at minimum. You're a 700-yard running back as the number 2 and the boomer. And so that now let's give Kyle Monangai your numbers. Let's say he is the 80 to 90 carry guy and he gets 400 yards, and your boy is still gonna get his 1,000 yards because all he is a 1,000-yard runner at his base in his core. How he gets them, I think, looks differently. So I don't expect him to have no 1,200, 1,300 rushing yards this year. But I do think he'll still get his 1,000 yards. And so if you extrapolate what I just said, that's over 2,100 rushing yards. And that's not to even include Caleb getting any design run plays or off script. So I think you have an opportunity to have about 2,300 yards or more in the run game. And that can be divvied up real good with a three-headed jump off. And you can say that it doesn't seem to be solidified, but as Ben Johnson indicated, it's been a while since I've had DeAndre under. He hit 1,000 yards last year and his year in Philly. Last year he was about 60 yards short. But stop your games. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was 959 last year.
He's like
18th amongst
37, 40 yards short.
Yeah.
And like I said, even then, no, I'm not talking about all purpose, sir. Stop. He was a Pro Bowler there. You ain't a Pro Bowler for having less than 1,000 yards. And like I indicated to you already, Ben has already told you just that he will find out how to best use all of his playmakers, and he will use them to the best of their abilities. I'm not going to fit a round peg into a square hole and try to prove to you or anybody else what somebody is not. The man showed you behind a bullshit bomb line last year that he can get damn near 1,000 yards with total calamity and chaos. I give everybody an 80% second chance or a mulligan on what happened last year. But I assure you that while I don't think the greatest, he's not this Saquon Barkley-esque running back, I think people oftentimes mistake every running back in the league that you know of name-wise, that you got these 7 or 8, 1,300-yard rushers. So I'm going to do a little homework for myself and see how many 1,000-yard rushers we had last year. Because I think sometimes we just get stuck in the weeds with 1,000 yards being pissed on again just because it's not what it used to be.
Yeah, I think to your point of like how the running game has to have an identity. I feel like, last year we ran to keep the defense keep the defense honest, right? And like that neglects purpose. Are we running schemes? Are we setting up an offensive running game, or are we simply running because we ran it away? And so like understanding, concepts and scheming early on in the first couple quarters so that running develops and we start to get, tells from the defense, as opposed to just running because we ain't ran in a while because it's time or to keep us honest. And when we look at I think the Chicago Bears were 24th in terms of let me pull this up. 24th in terms of rushing yards over the course of 2024. We don't need to be top 5 to be successful. I don't necessarily think. I think if we get in the top 10, maybe 7, 12, 13, if we can just be productive enough to keep everything flowing in order and even in terms of what the coaches should do, right? Like a short passing game, screens. I think there's a lot of ways to get screens involved. I think we had a surplus of short passes to create runs. Yeah, and I think it was overly done. Like when we think about Justin Fields, we had productive running game, but that was mainly held through someone like Justin Fields who's breaking rushing yards as a quarterback. I don't think that's the way we get to success, and so there has to be an identity. What that combo looks like, I don't know, but scheming early on in the game to develop those things later on, I think it's another thing we got to have confidence in Ben Johnson. We look at what Detroit Lions do. That's a productive running game.
That part.
And that's necessary. Yeah.
But that's what I mean. But everybody looks at all of the things. He had the lowest average attempt because we had the worst fucking line. Teddy, you still not listening to nothing I'm talking about in terms of logical statements. 3/5 of my line is different than last year. My entire coaching staff, minus the tight end coach, Jim Dre, and my special teams coach, Hightower, are the guys that are the holdovers. 3.8 is never solid, but that was behind a bum line. So what are we talking about? 3.8 was expected behind that shitty line. And until you understand that part of what's going on, you're not going to give him credit just like anybody else. Because the only time he did have 1,000 yards, oh, wait a minute. He had a damn competent offensive line. Like, seriously. And I don't think it's the only time, but I'm gonna go with it. Because I'm not in the weeds to go to bat for DeAndre Swift. What I'm telling you, like I tell people.
I'm never trying to go to bat for DeAndre. I'm not a huge DeAndre fan, but I want.
It's more so for me. People have vitriol for DeAndre like he's a 600-yard receiver every year. I mean, running back every year. And James Cook had 1,006 yards. If I ain't looking it up wrong, James Cook is not. I believe him to be exponentially better than DeAndre Swift in terms of what he can be. But he had 1,000 damn yards because he's in a combo, and sometimes carries go elsewhere. Make the most of your opportunities, and I believe that this year, behind the coaching and the line, he will do the things that he needs to do. You can't tell me, and nobody can tell me, even in Philly, you did not have Ben Johnson as your coach. Don't tell me Nick Sirianni. This year, in the last few years, Nick has totally embraced the running game, where it's not Jalen being the end-all, be-all. At the same time, Eric Bieniemy is my goddamn running backs coach, and I do not shortchange that for any amount of faith in what's going on. And so we can all be agreeing on it's uncertain as how they will be used. But I have zero, and I say zero, hesitancy about having total confidence that it will be used effectively. And you can say he was spoiled by him. David Montgomery played for us, bro. I know what David Montgomery is, and he ain't shit to write home about. He was 1,000-yard rusher. So what are we talking about again? That's overinflating David Montgomery. And I mean, no disrespect to David Montgomery, because he was a serviceable back for me, just like Detroit. But he is serviceable. Look up his damn running yards.
Well, but here's the thing. So I think this might be controversial. Especially
Jameer is special. Nobody else is special. And he ain't always had Jameer. He had Jamal Williams. He had David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift. Jameer is special. And he has done that with all of them. Jameer is special. That's it.
But this might be controversial, and this might strike a nerve with you. But I believe a lot of about DeAndre Swift is relatable to our Jay Cutler scenario. I think it goes back to what we're paying for. Like
wrong.
How? Let me finish. So I hear a lot of the complaints about DeAndre Swift. I'm looking. DeAndre Swift is the 8th highest paid back in the NFL. And so I think a lot of what we're hearing about is what we're spending on a player and what we're getting from a player. If I listed off, the other top running backs in terms of pay, and then I tell you DeAndre Swift is right there in terms of productivity, I think it's more like we're paying $8 million for who could very easily be making $4 or $5 million less and still get the same type of productivity.
Now, let me give you a synopsis on that first, but let me first clear something up.
Okay.
Don't make that weak comparison ever again for me, sir, because Jay Cutler was not overpaid in any way, shape, or form. I'm being serious when I say that.
We can agree.
No, I'm being serious. Okay. I'm just quarterbacks get paid what quarterbacks get paid. You can tell me about any position but that. You will never have me in that debate about a quarterback being overpaid. All of them are overpaid. It's next man up. So let's not ever use that. And not to mention 7-1 before he broke his thumb. An NFC Championship game after he got that 126. I'd say you got your money's worth. Nonetheless, you are the only person that I've heard talk about DeAndre Swift's money. I listen to ESPN 1000 daily. Pat, the designer, cannot, just like Shy Guy Ty, they both cannot stand DeAndre Swift. I have not once heard either one of them bring up money. They don't like DeAndre Swift because they don't think he's a great running back, and he is what they know what he is, and he's not impressive to them. But
you wouldn't be expecting great running back play if you're paying him $3 million
I
versus
disagree,
$8 million.
Because he wasn't getting all that money in Detroit or Philly. He didn't make great money nowhere. What I'm saying is they don't like him because they don't like him. Even this guy that's a Packers fan, he ain't got no stake in DeAndre Swift. He don't know about his contract. He ain't say he overpaid. He don't like DeAndre Swift because he think he is what he is, and that's fine. I'm cool with you saying he an 800-yard rusher if you want to say that. What I'm saying is I think everybody is magnified in this system, and until this coach uses them, the only thing we all agree upon is that we have uncertainty as to how they'll be deployed. I got some people that say DeAndre Swift going to be cut before training camp. Some people say he's going to be passed up by Kyle Benungai early in the season to be the third string or second string. Like, I hear a lot of things. I don't believe any of them because You paying this dude $8 million this year. He is a $10 million cap hit if you call yourself cutting him. And he is not a bum. James Cook is out here holding out or holding in to get a new contract right now. He's going to get more than $8.5 million, and nobody going to say nothing about it. So if he got 1,006 yards last year, he ain't overpaid. What are we talking about? A signing that we shouldn't have made, I will agree with anybody. Because I don't think we needed to sign him necessarily, no less so early. But the way in which they talk about DeAndre is like Ben Johnson needs these. They say he is such a guru, but he need all of these excellent pieces to be great. If that's the case, then he ain't great, in my estimation.
No, I don't think. I don't think he needs.
No, I'm just talking about the chat and everything. You're talking about some. Let's anybody. We need to upgrade at this position. You don't need to upgrade at every position, and let's say you do. This year ain't the year you need to do it, but everybody talks about it in the context that if the running game won't be successful because you have DeAndre Swift being your one, and I just believe that's utterly false. I'm not saying that we're gonna have 3,000 yards, but I'm also saying we're not gonna be 25th in the yard in the league in rushing, and he ain't gonna have 3.9 yards to carry. That's what I'm saying.
Right, like I get what you're saying. I think so. One it's funny. One of the one thing that kind of runs true through like my family, between my mom. She kind of grew me. I kind of grew up on this mentality of figure that shit out. And what that really means is, we're in the moment of adversity, in the moment of like I can't, I don't know, too tough, I don't feel like it. You have to figure that out. And I do believe, great coaches, good leaders, players, he's going to have the ability to figure it out. You're going to sit down, you're going to have a plan, and something's going to happen, because that's what happens in all plans. And having a coach like Ben Johnson who can pivot based off of resources, the defense, the scheme, figure it out. It's not all good. You can't set up a plan today that's going to carry you through 17 games. And so as you kind of work through this, you're going to have to figure out a way to get the most out of DeAndre Swift. And I don't have any worries about that. But my only concern, or maybe the feedback that I'm talking about, is more based on the fact that what we expected to get and expectations will hurt you often is not necessarily what we may have gotten far, but a lot of that is based off our past offensive coordinator, our past head coach. And so I think Ben Johnson can figure it out as we go. But it's really coming down to what we've seen thus far Swift and not what is yet to come. I think it's going to be successful only because I believe in the person steering the ship.
But let me ask you this real quick.
Yeah.
Black Couch, how you feeling today? Do you think Caleb underperformed last year?
Yes.
Do you think DeAndre Swift underperformed last year?
Yes.
DJ Moore?
Yes.
Everybody underperformed last year and all these years. So I understand the reservation, but the reservation, like I said, I have a, what do you call, a mulligan of sorts, and I'm going to find out.
I don't question DJ's more ability.
No, I don't question nobody's ability. I question the coach's ability because
Skill is yet to be determined.
No, Dedrick, I've seen every PFF. I'm sorry, whether people like it or not. Like I told you, they get to grade people too. They don't grade your tackles as bums as they was actual bums. Yo, Jalen Johnson is the 6th ranked cornerback in the league, and last year was number 2. Not a bum.
That's nonsense.
But what I'm saying is, you got players on your team. Tremaine Edmonds underperformed. Montez Sweat underperformed. Those people you paying real bread to, $17.5 million, 25s. They need to yield real results. What I'm saying, for $8.5 million, I don't know how many make 8.5. Like you say, he probably the 8th highest. How many don't get 1,000 yards? So if you're the only one,
no, I get your point.
I'm just saying, like the return on investment. The return on investment, I think, is in total yards in scrimmage, not rushing yards holistically. So what I'm saying is, if this man got 340 yards in receiving, and your touchdowning, and you got 1,000 rushing yards, you got your money's worth. I don't need 1,200, 1,300 rushing yards, but some people attribute what they've seen, and I understand he is more of what I've seen throughout his career. You ain't gonna change too much, but I'm saying it's 3.9. Let's just talk about that.
That's what I'm getting.
Yeah,
to. What I'm getting to is,
but he's not overpaid.
One of those situations where.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sports is one of those situations where very often you pay potential, right? Like it's not based off of necessarily done, but what we hope you can do. And so when you talk about players like DJ Moore, you talk about players like Tay Sweat, you talk about offensive line, you're talking about people who have set a standard, who have done this,
including DeAndre,
who have a history of success, right?
Including DeAndre.
And so sometimes you're paid based off of your pedigree. But I'm saying there's also players like Caleb Williams, with players like DJ Moore. Slightly different. DJ Moore has a history. I don't question DJ Moore's capability of being successful in it. Him being on a very bad team and be a star on a very bad team. I don't question what he can do on the field. But there are people getting paid that are being paid based off of projections. DJ Moore not being one of them.
And DeAndre not being one of them. They didn't project anything. DeAndre was in the league 6 years before he touched our field. That's not a projection. You signed him based on what he's done. No. He's not a 400-yard rusher. Like,
you're right.
Prime example.
But there are players, though. There's two different ways to be. There's a few different ways to get paid. I'm not saying that Swift doesn't have a history, but what I'm saying is there are people being paid in a lot of cases based off of projections. When you talk about where I have my concerns,
it's everybody.
With DJ Moore, but I have my concerns with Caleb Williams. They're in two different places. One's projection and one is like a history of productivity.
But that's my point. DeAndre has not been unproductive anywhere. Secondly, his replacement, Teddy, is Saquon Barkley. What are we talking about? That's one of the two best running backs in the league. Stop with the nonsense again. And the fact that you talk about he can get 1,000 yards combined, like that's foolish. Tell me the year where he had just 1,000 yards, like he had 600 rushing yards and 400 receiving. The dude is a dual threat. So, like I said, I'm not telling you he had 17,000 total yards no year, but you out here acting like this dude barely get 1,000 yards combined. Ted, you can stop with that. Saquon is a number 2 or number 1 back in the league. Yes, you give me the best offensive line. He's supposed to be the best. He was the best behind the Giants line. What are you talking about?
DeAndre Swift was 18 amongst running backs, averaging 3.8 yards a carry and a total of 950 yards.
I know about last year. We just talked about that.
He had 253 carries. Yeah, so I'm saying he's productive. I'm talking about him.
I'm talking about Teddy again with just 1,000 yards combined. Like 1,000, like he barely, like he's scuffling to get to 700 rushing yards or something.
But Chad going crazy. Teddy
going crazy because Teddy look at the 1 year of 1,000 yards and rushing, and he just want to make it like the dude ain't never.
Who does Teddy want in the backfield?
No, he just don't know how we gonna use nobody, but DeAndre a bum.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we wouldn't be talking about DeAndre so much if he ain't a bum, and that's all I said. Nobody is capable. He's trying to put Saquon Barkley and DeAndre Swift in the same breath. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson and Luther Burden. Like that don't make no sense. Stop it. And
what is Saquon?
Last year free agent running backs wasn't loaded. Derrick Henry and Saquon. Tell me the other one.
Saquon make $12 million a year.
No, I'm talking about. He said it was loaded. Tell me the other people that was so dope last year. Derrick Henry and Saquon. Before I get off on a tangent and move back, tell me some other ones. Give me these great running back signings, Teddy.
We'll wait on that part. But
Gus Edwards had like 600 yards. Aaron Jones had 1,003. Austin Eckler was the backup. Gus Edwards shared time as another backup. All solid running backs that don't scream nothing, but you pick their names to be okay. So why is we talking about the other one? Nick Chubb.
So you made a comment about Roshan being the second best quarterback in high school behind
Jaden. He's third. I say he was third. Jaden was number 2.
Yeah. Okay.
They're not all solid. All
I don't know how I feel.
Huh?
I don't know how I'm gonna feel about Roshan throwing passes in the red zone.
Well, you thinking too much. I gave you a concept, and now you trying to figure out how somebody gonna be used again. I ain't say where he's going to do it
I mean,
at
that's
all.
cute.
You
It's
don't
just
want.
one of those things
So,
where,
I'm
it's
sorry.
like an alley-hoop.
I bet you
It's
Detroit
cute
had a
on the
problem with
fast
Penei
break.
Sewell throwing the ball last year. I don't care.
What's that?
I bet you Detroit had a problem with Penei Sewell throwing the ball last year. I could
Yeah.
give 3 fucks. Don't care. Use people how
Didn't
you.
he do that?
I'm not the
Super
coach.
Bowl? Well, no, not Super Bowl. But didn't they have? When was this? Was this NFC Championship? When Sewell was throwing?
No, that was in the
Yeah,
regular season.
multiple
Detroit didn't go.
passes.
No, I don't know when it was,
Okay.
but guess what? It was unsuccessful. But I don't care. Nobody was out here like, damn, don't do that. I don't care. This ain't Nagy. You don't got that track record. Trick away. When Jared Goff was fake fumbling on our ass, nobody was out there like, oh, that's a horrible play. The shit worked. I don't care. I'm not out here talking about don't do this and don't do that. If we talk about any coach we had already, that's fine. This is your baby. This your favorite coach, and now we worried about how he gonna use somebody. That sounds crazy to me. I don't care how you use them. No, use them correctly. That's all I want. I don't. The context of where they use somebody, like you don't want to see Roshan on the goal line. Roshan was a quarterback in his real life, and I don't care where I want to see him. If you saw the play pop up 3 times this year and it worked, you still gonna be you can. I don't care. You don't care if you don't want to see him there. Being gonna put him there, it's gonna work. I bet you Philly didn't want to see the Statue of Liberty with Nick Foles catching the goddamn ball, but it worked. I understand what we're saying about that. It's a whole bunch of nobody in our history want to see a bubble screen again. I bet you're gonna see one this year. You're gonna see a lot of them. I think you're gonna see successful ones this year. So I'm serious when I say mulligan. I'm not absolving my team's history and saying that the players is gonna miraculously be 3,000% better. I'm saying 80% of the things that went wrong in the last 2 years for me are not attributed to the players. This year, the players get to go ahead and prove that everything that Teddy is saying about these better running backs last year, like 7 of them running backs not even in the league no more. So let's talk about how good they was. They were serviceable guys. And this year, if they are not using people the right way and Ben don't cook, a whole bunch of things going to blow up. And then anything that is said about everybody can be true. Because let's say it like this. If Ben is what we think he is, and some of these other players don't move up and ascend into different levels, then you, my friend, are what the Bears thought you were. And you can't get off the hook. So I'm not out here telling you that they're going to be anything specifically. I'm telling you what I won't believe that they're not going to be. And I don't want Nick Chubb 1.5 years off his injury because Nick Chubb is not a better option. I don't know what you're going to look like. Last year he played 4 games. And I don't want Gus Edwards on my team. Stop trying to find me other replacements that don't mean shit. Those are no-name ass, nothing quarterbacks. Don't tell me about how cheap they are. That all sounds good, Ted. Last year, the first signing, or 2 years ago, first signing that was made was a guy named DeAndre Swift. Because I don't know if last year his first year in Chicago?
Last year was his first year.
Okay, so that means he got a 3-year deal. That means next year he can be gone for nothing. So I don't care that a dude coming off his Pro Bowl season got paid $8 million. I can't budget or go back in budget. Like I told you cut him, it's a $10 million cap hit. So what money are you saving by cutting him, or what energy are we saving by talking about what he didn't give you? Either he gonna give it to you this year, or we can 3,000% have no uncertainty about where he'll be next year, because it won't be on our roster. Because next year he won't cost you $10 million. And if Kyle is what they think Kyle is, who's an unknown commodity just yet, and they still have the opportunity to, oh my bad, they get to draft every year. Meaning you get to go draft your damn running back you want. I'm not worried about DeAndre Swift beyond this year. Just like I talked about Braxton Jones. I want to see that you are best utilized this year, like HQ say, hit the like button. Get the best you can get out of him this year. Shine up a turd if he is a turd. And move on. Because somebody will buy on what you're saying. And if we let him go next year after he has a better year, which I know he will have a better year. I don't care about how much better. I know he will have a better year. It will look better. It'll feel better. And compensatory draft picks is what I hear in my head when I talk about people that I don't think going to be on my team next year. I think about making you the best you are this year, so that when you go on to a better or greener pastures for your bread, we can start getting these compensatory draft picks, because we've not had one in 9 years. And so all I want you to do is be better for my team. That's right. No, but anything is not better, Teddy, because 4.1 yards a carry means you can have a first down with running the ball. And all I need for my team to have as a collective is 4.1 rushing yards a carry to have first down on third down. And so I need those things to happen, and we think they will. Quick injury notes. Do you have anybody, Mr. Bluefax, that you think injury-wise you are cautious about or ready to see? How ironic.
Injury-wise?
Yeah.
Cautious. Keenum is on the injury report. I think he's still there. I think that's a plus. I don't mind him being there at all, because I don't ever want to see him on the field. I think just more so depth at the corner, at the defensive back position.
I'm talking about particular people. We got specifics. I can go through the list of people that's injured.
Kyler Gordon, I think, come to mind.
No, Kyler Gordon's not injured.
I know he's not injured now, but you're talking about, do I have concerns or worries about injuries?
I'm sorry. I'm talking about people that's injured now. I'm not trying to predetermine injuries for people who don't have injury history. Kyler Gordon don't have an injury history. Why you keep trying to make Kyler hurt?
Because I think he's a big piece. And
I'm saying, why do you keep trying to make him hurt when he's not been a hurt player? Jaquan Brisker has been hurt. Kyler got new money.
I'm not trying to make him hurt.
Kyler is the third highest paid safety in the league, I believe. If he was always hurt, he wouldn't have got a new deal. They was drafted the same year. Jaquan does not have a new deal. Why? Because he's always injured. So you spread misinformation right there by keep saying this injury history about Kyler that's untrue, because he's not had an injury history. Jaquan Brisker has an injury history. So I'm just saying, I'm feeling superstitious. You jinxing Kyler because we keep talking about Kyler being hurt when he not the hurt dude. No has he ever been hurt. But I'm talking about people that's actually hurt right now. Like you talk about Kyler. I'll give you examples of people that we should be concerned about, not Kyler.
Are you saying Kyler Gordon has a injury?
Yeah, your injury history. You talking about injury prone. This man probably missed about 5 games in his career. You act like he missed 30 of them. They don't give him new money for being injury prone. Conversely, if he was injury prone, why is it that the other one that plays just as good as him ain't got new money? Because he misses a lot of games. We ain't talking about playing hurt. We talking about missing games. They don't give you new money for missing games.
Okay, I'm pulling this out right now. Go ahead.
Luther Burden is injured in real life. Not anticipating injury. He is. Jalen Johnson is injured in real life. Not thinking about if he'll get hurt. Braxton Jones still has not practiced with the team yet. Still doing individual drills. Still hurt. Not anticipating him getting hurt is what I'm saying. Don't jinx the team over here. I'm superstitious right now. Don't anticipate nobody getting hurt. Talk about the injury concerns of people that are hurt or who actually have been hurt before. Like you can talk about Brisker being a injury right there, an injury risk. Don't talk about people who ain't hurt. And Luther is still hurt. Soft tissue core injury. Still not back yet, Teddy.
Yeah. What's Luther's injury?
He got ab injury. So at first they thought he knocked the wind out of himself when he landed on the ball, but I think he had a soft cartilage injury by falling on said ball. So some people might crack their ribs from that hard fall or something like that. He don't have a cracked rib, but he's still repairing the bruise. So I think they just kind of let him, power player, just kind of rest up. Whereas Colston, who was an injury concern for me, is not so much because he's been practicing limited now. They've been putting him in some early install packages, and Colston looked like a goddamn wide receiver. Facts. Trapped in a tight end frame.
I've seen practice. He looks a lot thinner than I thought he was going to be. I thought he was going to come in a little bit meeting that Komet kind of body style, but he's a. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I mean, but everything the other one's not.
I'm hopeful. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense when you think about you don't want the same player.
Yeah.
So you went and got some. Yeah, you went and got some a little different. You went and got a small forward.
And you see how crazy that is because in a quarterback, you almost kind of want a duplicate so that you're going to adapt schemes. But when you talk about pass catches and skill sets, yeah, hey, just like you said, I like that. Andrews and Isaiah Likely combination. Initially, I like that. I like how Isaiah Likely is built. But I think the success of the group might be a bit more utilized this year just because, and I wish that it's not always the case, but Andy Reid said it best. Your best, what you call it? Your best weapon is your tight end because he's the closest to you. And just like T. Miles said, Brisker and Roschon are the coasting injuries, and Loveland and Burton got soft tissue. What you got, Fats?
The top 3 injury concerns for the Chicago Bears: Jaquan Brisker, Braxton Jones, and Kyle.
Say it again.
The top 3 injury concerns for the Chicago Bears are Braxton Jones, Jaquan Brisker, and Kyler Gordon.
And read the article if you will, so they can explain to you why, because I think you're not giving context.
So Jaquan Brisker plays.
No, I don't care about him. We talking about the person you defending right now.
Okay, Braxton Jones.
No, not the person you defending right now.
Okay, hamstring injuries and concussion for multiple games.
For Kyler Gordon. That's what we're talking about.
Gordon.
I don't care about nobody but the person you're defending right now. We talk about the other people.
Yeah,
they injured. They actually injured.
Justifiable concern.
No. I said read about Kyler. What's the concerns about Kyler? You told me about Braxton and Jaquan.
Hamstring injuries.
So go to how many games Kyler Gordon missed.
How many games did Kyler Gordon miss? Kyler Gordon missed 4 games, 2023, and 3 games. What in 2024? Missed multiple games due to hamstring injury in 2024.
So how many games do we got? 17 games. He played 3 seasons already?
3 seasons. So 2 games in 2022, 4 games in 2023,
34,
and 2-3 games in
50,
2024.
So at least, 51 games?
Yeah.
And he missed 9?
We'll go with that.
Now go read Jaquan Brisker from me, if you will, to compare.
Let me pull it up.
Because Keenan missed 4 games, 3 games last year with a tissue injury, soft tissue, quad strains.
Yep. All right, so we got Jaquan.
He missed 9 games.
He missed 12 games in 2024. Only played 5 games during the 2024 season. You want to go back to 2025?
His whole career. I want to know how many games he missed. Just like you gave me 9 for Kyler.
All right, so 2024 missed 12, 2022 missed 2 games due to concussion. I don't have numbers for 2023. Hold on, let me pull that up. He only missed 2 in 2022.
It's only 14 games so far.
I'm trying to find
14 and 2 seasons.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what he missed in 2023.
So you missed half. You missed half both of those seasons. Without including 23, you missed half of both of those seasons. Conversely, the other dude, they missed half of both of those seasons.
No.
And the article that you read was somebody who.
Oh, this is AI.
Somebody. I'm saying somebody who. That's even worse. Yeah. I'm gonna say somebody who wrote a article about their opinion, not necessarily some tangible. Missed more than 9 games.
Only missed 2 games. It says only missed 2 games in 2023.
Yeah, but I'm saying he missed 14 games out of 31. You missed half of the games in 2 seasons. That's an injury concern. In the last 2 seasons, you gave me 9 for Kyler.
I'm just going back to the valid concern.
For 3 years, you gave me 9, and I one of them had to be more than 1 week or something. I guess when we talking about that hamstring injuries or something like that, but not the level of concern. For me, especially considering you gave him new money last year, if somebody had injury concerns.
You got concerns about Braxton?
I don't have concerns about Braxton. My concern about Braxton right now is that you're losing reps to both of those guys and you're not getting to jail with the people who are going to make you look better this year because you're still not doing team drills. I don't care. Like, if you get hurt throughout the season, that's what it is. I believe, like I said, we got enough left tackle flexibility to be able to be next man up and actually get better and not worse. But I need for the things to come to fruition for the Bears to be the best, and we'll move on to one of the most important thing of what we're talking about here, because we're talking about Ryan Poles acquisition. So we done got through all of the training camp minutia. If you got a pen and paper, or do I need to grab one, we're gonna go through, or you can just keep up with a mental count. Everybody in the chat just as well. We're gonna go through some acquisitions that Ryan Poles has made. You're going to tell me if it was a hit or a miss. I guess we don't have time. For the sake of time, we won't try to go through the whys so much unless it's somebody that's controversial. But if something like injury history is a concern, like Jaquan, I don't really necessarily want to know if Jaquan's injury history is a concern. I want to know if the player themselves was a bad pick in terms of their performance. I don't care about the injury necessarily. I care about, in this evaluation, when they're on the field, are they a good pick? Because injury history will contribute to a lot of people not being a good pick. But if you're on the roster right now, one, I really can't call you a bad pick, but we'll go through them just to evaluate. So availability is the best ability, but we're not ranking the best ability of Ryan Poles acquisitions. I want to know, based on talent level, if this was a bad acquisition or a good one. Because just like we talked about DeAndre, we weren't talking about his availability. We was talking about his actual ability to produce. So let's keep it there. Moving on. 2022. We talked about the first two. Kyler Gordon, Jaquan Brisker. And we talked about three of them, Braxton Jones as well. Any one of those a fail for you?
A fail, so this pass fail.
Pass fail. I'm not interested. Like I said, your performance on the field. I'm not interested in all the other stuff. For me, I already told you all my rankings. If you're on the roster, it's impossible for me to call you a failure if you're still on the damn roster 3 years later. But all you.
I'm gonna say pass. But they passed. Now whether that's a A or a C.
Yeah, I'm not. See, that's what I'm talking about.
To be determined, but
you work in your field. How many times do they ask you for your transcripts? They ask you, did you damn graduate?
Yeah.
Nobody asked you how good you was at it. But you're good. You're good enough. Because I already know what your grade would be for the next one, and it's gonna be the same whether it's pass, fail, or actual letter grade. Velus Jones Jr.
Who?
Yeah. See what I'm saying? I'm gonna say it again. Velus Jones Jr.
That's an epic fail.
And one that might be a lightning bolt for us, Dominique Robinson. Because I really want to give you a question mark, but you're still on the roster, so I got to stick to my guns on what I just said.
Hold on. I feel like it. Let me make sure. I'm gonna go with a pass.
Okay. 2023. So we're gonna start with the trade. Sent the number one pick to Carolina for DJ Moore, and they first overall pick, which became Caleb. Pass or fail?
Pass.
So we got 5 passes right now, 1 fail so far.
Yeah. Yes.
Free agency splash. Tremaine Edmonds. Pass or fail?
I'm kind of in that boat that I am with Swift, and I think I focus too much on what we're paying for.
Yeah, you do. You're so cost driven about something that you ain't paying a dime for.
Okay, pass, man, pass.
I don't give a fuck if they pay them all the money. Pay them everything. I don't care. Them niggas making way more money than I will ever make.
Pass.
Man, I don't get paid too much. But Teddy over here talking about some missed too many games. Sir, once again, you can grade, but you can grade how you want to. But I just told you the grades are not based on your availability; they are based on your actual abilities. And his 2 games, 2 sacks in 2 years, I understand that would say that you are a failure. So I won't argue with you because I told you. Only reason I got to call him a pass is because he's still on the roster, and I will allow him to be used by Dennis Allen the way that he needs to be this year, hopefully. So, and he got 2.5 sacks. He started his rookie season off with 2.5 sacks, first 2 games. Damn, why you won't get him?
That's crazy when I see that.
But I get you.
When I just seeing that, that's crazy.
But yeah, I get you. I'll let you have. You'll give him a fail. I got to give him a pass based on what I said. Tremaine Edmonds, you gave him pass or a fail?
I said pass, but now that I see his 2.5 sacks over 3 years.
Not their money. His actual, and you can call him a failure. Like if you think he ain't producing for you, like in a real way, I'm not gonna rail against you, even if the money is the reason you think it's a fail. That's however you want to do it. Just so in the interest of time, you can be candid. I don't feel like we're getting enough pressure on the quarterback, but I don't necessarily know that's his I say pass only because he's been raved about so far in camp this year. I think he will be deployed effectively and properly this year, unlike Flus. So we'll find out. I'm hoping Teddy on the Chicago Bears website while he's trying to stat check me over here, but I'll let you go with it. It ain't my fight for Dom Rob. I told you already. I only got him passing because I have to. They even talked about him and they talked about him anyway. Yeah. He played in 34 51 games. That longevity, just like backup quarterbacks, sometimes, Teddy, you got to understand that a depth piece is a depth piece. He's not ever been projected to be a starter. He was a 5th rounder. And I get to call you what you are. You're still on the damn roster. Yeah. So I understand what you want from him, but you trying to give me number extrapolation. But I won't argue with you about it. Like I said, he a borderline for me. Moving along. Nate Davis. You think too hard. Big ass fail. I ain't got to think about that not once.
Yeah. That's
wasted
that's
money.
That's
didn't play good.
What I'm missing, what are those moments? I don't have. Yeah, I'm gonna go with a fail.
I got nothing for him. He's a big fail.
Yeah.
What's my dude name? T.J. Edwards. Biggest pass I can give.
What happened?
I said T.J. Edwards. Said the biggest pass I can give.
What else you got?
DeMarcus Walker. Fail. I'm gonna let you have it, T. Miles. I can even say failure thus far. To agree with some of these fails, I would say failure thus far for Tremaine Edmonds. I won't say failure in acquisition because you've only been a failure based on our expectation of you, not based on actual productivity in the NFL. 100 tackles and shit like that ain't easy to come by, but based on what we pay you, I know that's what we're going off of. Failure as of yet. Montez Sweat, pass or fail?
When we got
2024. Yeah, 2023.
I'm going with fail.
Okay.
I'm going with a fail.
I'm going pass
because of what the expectation was.
I'm going pass because the first year you got him, nobody was talking about the expectation. He lit your team up and everybody was sweating him, all puns intended. So 1 year good, 1 year bad. I'm not gonna tell you a fail for being 50-50 right now. I'm gonna still go with a pass.
Okay.
And we got a 2nd round pick to go along with him. So that 2nd round pick netted us 3 total picks this year, and I like all 3 of those. So let me see. Nate Davis was an epic fail. Darnell Wright.
Yep. Who?
Darnell Wright.
A fail?
No, pass or fail. I'm asking you.
I said fail.
Darnell Wright is a fail. Your top 10 overall draft pick. That's your right tackle. You fail? Got you.
Yeah.
Ain't no way. Tyreek Stevenson. somebody ranked top 15 in PFF is a fail.
I'm gonna go with a pass. I'm gonna go with a pass.
Tyreek Stevenson is a pass, and Darnell is a failure.
He can't control his injuries. He can't control the injuries, right?
Who?
I mean, like,
Darnell Wright, what injuries? What are we talking about?
no, you said Tyreek Stevenson, right?
Yeah, and you said pass for Tyreek.
No. I said pass for Tyreek Stevenson and fail for Darnell Wright.
That's what I said. You said pass for Tyreek Stevenson and fail Darnell Wright. One of them been ranked in the top half of everybody his position.
You can't hold this man to one play. You can't hold this man down to
one of them has been ranked top 15 in his position. The other one is not. I'm not telling you. I agree that Tyreek is a pass. I disagree with you vehemently that your top 10 pick from 2 years ago is a fail. We'll move along, but I can't even see how you even fix your mouth and say it. Roschon Johnson.
Roschon Johnson is a hopeful, yet to be determined. I'm gonna go with pass.
Same thing, because you're on the roster right now. I got faith in you to turn it around, but Dexter Senior, Javon Dexter.
Javon Dexter.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with a pass.
Zach Pickens.
I had no idea.
Big fail. That should tell you enough right there. You got no idea. He don't play. He played in 4 games in 3 years.
I got no idea. Yeah.
Tyler Scott.
No, we were talking about him earlier in helping with depth, right?
No, we talking about him getting cut. We talking about him getting cut.
It was about him being cut.
Because you are irrelevant. Yeah, big fail.
Okay. Yeah.
He's a 3rd round pick. Tyler Scott.
Yeah. At this point, it's a fail, but I'm hopeful.
Yep. And like I said, I gotta be beholden to my what you call it?
He on the roster?
Yeah. And T Miles, I can't disagree with you more. I will not compare draft picks and talk about because Jalen Carter and he's not the best defensive tackle. He ranked high last year. I won't disagree with that. But he ain't number 1. And I'm not gonna talk about he got to be the number 1 right tackle for me to justify Jalen Carter. That's crazy to me, but you entitled. I really don't get how y'all rank somebody that the NFL ranks highly as a fail. No, DeAndre, he's not a fail for me, sir. But he's a fail for you, Teddy. I know where he stood before we talked about it. I know what DeAndre stands for many people.
We clear where Teddy got on DeAndre.
I ain't gonna ask you. I know what you want. 2024, Roma Dunze and Caleb Williams. Those are your draft picks.
Those are passes.
Keenan Allen as trade acquisition. I say fail.
Yeah. Fail.
No other really short term things I could talk about from last year.
Dexter's a pass.
And because we talked about the other free agent signing. Well, I didn't get your grade on DeAndre.
My grade on DeAndre?
Yeah.
He's a pass.
And 2025, Joe Tooney. Thus far, just based on your assertion, we don't know yet, but
pass. He's a pass.
Your draft, your
it was necessary.
I don't want to go through all your draft picks because we got a few of them. I like all of them until proven otherwise in a draft class. But we'll go with the big 3 names so we'll know about it. Besides, what'd you call it? What's his name? Loveland, Burden, and Trapillo. Those are the biggest 3 that we have.
Mm-hmm.
What do we think about that?
I'm gonna say passes on all of them. I mean, I think everything that we've heard, the reasons why they got drafted, were pretty consistent across the NFL community. That those are staples that you should definitely have on your roster.
And we're gonna frame it like this for our last question, I think, before we go ahead and bow out gracefully. The bottom line for me in this exercise at the end is that polls. I think your macro vision is clear. I like the combination of people we have that are going out there to look at reshaping or revitalizing the way in which the Bears are looked at offensively and on the whole. And I think you have stacked premium talent, in my estimation, around your QB, i.e. solidifying the trenches, some creative trade use throughout the years. And while people criticize some of the misses, the Chase Claypools of the world, the Velus Jones, we have a lot of Nate Davis-like misses. I won't try to exonerate those misses. But in this exercise right there, we just labeled, I think, far more hits.
Velus Jones? Did you say something about Velus Jones?
Did I say what?
I thought you said something about Velus Jones.
Yeah, we talked about huge swing and misses.
Okay. All right, just want to make sure he was in there.
Oh, you come on now. We ain't got the him and Chase Claypool on the same spectrum for me.
Don't bring up Chase.
I'm bringing up Chase because those things count.
Like,
but when we talk about on the whole, how many more good moves than bad for Ryan Poles? I have a problem understanding why people have so much question about it. And so my question for you is, just anybody else in the chat, do you think that the extension that Ryan was granted was warranted? Not necessary, but warranted.
I'm gonna say, okay, I'm a Ryan Poles fan. I think I've always been a Ryan Poles fan for a lot of different reasons, but I think it was warranted because I can understand the method. Now, are all of them swings out the park? No, but I can understand why he's attempting to do some of the things he's doing. I think when I look at what we've had historically in the past, it looked like just a misfit of bad decisions. And I feel like at least this may not be, grand slams, but I can understand the logic behind them. I have confidence in the thought process and why when you look at a roster like the one we had last year on paper, we weren't expecting 5 games. If you look about how we've been analyzed going into every season for the last 2 seasons, those have been positive and upbeat as from the roster, which is his responsibility, creating the roster. What we were expecting out of that roster is not came to fruition. I understand why we would go get veteran in certain positions, why we would trade back to get more draft capital for future scenarios. And so a lot of those things to me as a GM make sense. I think he knows what he does well in terms of accumulating picks, and I think he is smart enough to utilize talent to help him identify. And somebody like Ben Johnson can help him identify that. He doesn't start off with, I know all the things, sit back and watch me cook. He's open to having other opinions and doing what it takes to create a roster with some very basic principles. And I can see consistency in his methodology thus far. And so I think it's warranted.
And I say it's
very
warranted.
long-winded. My bad.
And you said you summed it up in total, and you think about the coaching standard. We think it's higher. Caleb's being pushed. We estimate the team on the whole is being held and expected to have a different standard. And so this is the part of camp where I think you kind of find those cracks and you seal them up.
2 teams in Chicago sports that are actually making what I would consider to be real movement in their sport. And what I mean by real movement is trying to win games. Spending money on resources the way a real spends money on resources with a plan. And I can say that's Chicago Cubs and Chicago Bears. We're actually one of the top 5, top 3 largest cities, and we're actually doing things the way you would expect them to be done. Spending money on head coaching, whether it be the Cubs or whether it be the Bears. Actually putting people in the room to get the most out of your talent and allocating. We're not a small market team. And so these two teams, Cubs and the Bears, I think are finally trying something that looks like it takes a while to get there. And sadly enough, we've been short-sighted for a very long time in terms of money from ownership and spending it on talent. And I feel like getting to the point of like, oh, this is what is required to win.
And you see, I would say that in some ways, the only reason I disagree with that statement is because if you check salary caps and spending for both of those teams, and most of them, they do spend money. They have always spent money. The problem that they've had was spending money incorrectly. Yes. And so, like you said, we'll go out there and overspend on a running back, but then cheap out on a coach that don't count against the cap.
Yeah.
You try to pare down to David Ross instead of going to get a Craig Counsell or Joe Madden.
Yeah.
And so I think the team, especially the Bears in general, starts to operate more on a, like you said, a first-class level and act like you're a top 3 city in the States. And so every single phase of the operation, including the talent acquisition, is starting to be utilized that way. And I think that those things in total allow us to have a situation where if the Bears stay healthy, and that's the only thing that I can think I have any actual reservation about, because the season is long. You give Caleb time like we think. Those weapons are weaponing like we believe they will be. And the defense is making hay with Dennis Allen. And I think this offense goes from promise to a problem for a lot of people in the NFL. And not just in our division.
When's the last time the Chicago Bears went and got the number 1 coach available who wanted to be here?
You never went and got the number 1 coach ever.
Yeah, you can say all you want about how productive Forte was and Urlacher and Brandon Marshall, Cutler, but those are, you're spending money on talent, but they were always him and hum when it came around. Yeah. But
I'm not even talking about that, because let's not shortchange Lovey like he wasn't a great coach, but you wasn't but you wasn't the top tier.
But after Lovey,
Lovey was special. But I'm saying Lovey wasn't known. He was a special teams, a defensive coordinator for the Rams, the greatest show on turf. I had no faith in Lovey when we hired Lovey because he's a no-name again. This time, you went out and got the person that everybody wanted. Not the unpolished Jim, not the Phil Jackson nobody knew about in the CBA. Not the, you went out there and did a Joe Madden type move. Like you talked about with the Cubs. Go get the creme de la creme. Get coaches that will curse out top level to the bottom level and hold everybody accountable. Tell you that they're the leaders of the team first and acquire and assemble a team that will lead itself. And that gives us the best opportunity to hope for the best. Tune in next week as we might actually get into a bit of fantasy football. It is time to start talking about the extension of football as training camp kind of dwells on. We got preseason football that starts next week. And so what better way to cap off? Speaking of belts, I'm glad this man just said that. Chat, if you look right behind me where my hand is pointed, you see a mirror. Next to said mirror, I like the mirror there because I like to look at myself. Don't call me vain. I'm going to get a nice little trophy stand. And on that trophy stand will stand my trophy, my championship trophy, my first place trophy from last year. The most current and most recent champ of the fantasy football world. Not somebody who won I'm the Eagles and somebody else is the Kansas City Chiefs. Both of them was in the Super Bowl last year, but one of them won.
No, I'm saying.
But one of them won. So he's gonna bring you the belt, and until I get the properly display behind me, it's just due.
We're just gonna put it in the background. Maybe
we're gonna put it in. That's right. I want it to be permanently displayed, so we're not gonna pull it out.
Yeah.
On no whim. When I pull it out, it's gonna stay out. That's all we're gonna say. Take it for what you will. Nobody really cares. All positions are gonna scare most people. That's right. That belt means nothing. Don't worry about it, y'all. But if you're interested in something like it, we do have opportunities for everybody to be involved in some fantasy football this year. With that being said, Mr. Bluefax, champ, do you got anything besides adulation for our first place Cubs to get into before we take a deep dive on out of here?
Cubs just came on. Go Cubs, go. Get the dub. Let's beat the hell out of the White Sox. And, have a good weekend, man.
That's right. You heard Power Player. Can't hold his shoulder belt no more, so he got to take it off. He lost. Here's the champ. No, but the champ is here. Don't worry. Hey, and I'm dead ass. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. I played him last year in the finals.
You know what? So first of all, Mike's past rings still count. We still bring up Mike as a goal. It has nothing to do.
Hey, he a Ravens fan. Tell him Ray Lewis rings still count.
Yeah, you still count all the trophies. This goal, there could be consecutive, right? We could have. These still count.
Hey, so look, T Miles. I can say former champ. I can say former champ.
Doing this, first of all.
Yeah, he was the inaugural champ.
Yeah, let's bring up the fact that, first of all, I was the first one to start doing the belt. So I was like, you know what? Let's get me a belt or a trophy. Next year might be, like the bang or something. I think it's well worth it, social media wise, and for situations like this, to have something to remember. That you spent on everybody.
Things, people.
When it was time. Yeah,
I can't stand them.
Yeah.
No, I ain't gonna be mad at it. Like the comment. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you have not. Share the content to somebody. Tell somebody to go ahead and hit that button anytime they can. Don't know where it came from, but we ain't gonna have to worry about it too much more. Power Player, cause the lag. Oh man, you over playing me, man. Look at you, got me. You got, man. Every week I have technical difficulties, and I think it's me. And now I learned that there's other people around. There's other factors that's contributing to this madness. With that being said, we ain't gonna worry about it. We clocking out over here, everybody. As always, we gonna keep delivering. See you next motherfucking practice. Hit the like button. We out of here, everybody. Appreciate you pulling up on your boy. And we gonna go ahead and get into some